Choosing the right sports betting platform can be tricky, as most mobile sports betting apps come with limited betting options and customization, delayed cash out and withdrawal times, and tedious customer support, and no true loyalty program with continuous rewards even after signing up. All of this leads to a frustrating, one-sided experience. So, how do you find the one which suits you best? Introducing Zensports. It combines the best of both worlds, a traditional sportsbook and a cutting-edge peer-to-peer marketplace. Zensports allows you to accept bets against the house, or use our peer-to-peer marketplace to create your own one-of-a-kind bet and set your own odds without the need for a bookmaker. At Zensports, you get more betting options and a cashback rewards through our unique welcome bonus, continuous loyalty program every month, and referral rewards delivered directly into your account. So what are you waiting for? Download the Zensports app today at Zensports.com.
Welcome to Bluff City Bets, a Bluff City media podcast. Join Daniel Greer and Chase Bobbitt as they give their plays of the day and strategies for success as a sports bettor. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? This is Daniel from Bluff City Bets. I'll be your host. And here at Bluff City Bets, I try to make you just a little bit smarter and make your cash go a little bit farther. We did that this past week. Chase keeps doing that. We're keep cashing for you. So make sure you tell your friends, let them know that you can get and make some money here at Bluff City Bets. Bluff City Bets is presented by Zensports. Here on the Bluff City Media Network. It's your complete coverage of all things Memphis. And if you are a Memphis fan, if you're not in our Discord, what are you doing? If you want to join the Discord, just send us a DM on Twitter at Bluff City Bets, and we'll make sure we set you up. We'll set you up right. But make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you can get the audio version of the podcast. And the YouTube friends, thank you for watching us. But make sure you subscribe to that as well so you can get notified immediately when we go live or when a new video comes out, plus all the other content we have over there with Bluff City Media. Make sure you tune into that. But we are presented by Zensports, and Zensports is a new sports book, especially here in the state of Tennessee, here in Memphis, if you're watching here locally. And the coolest thing with Zensports in general is the cashback rewards, right? So you can go to the sports book, place your normal bet that you would go at the other sports books that you might normally use. Well, here you actually get some cash back. And I talked to Mark about this at the last interview that I had with him. And we spoke very much into the cashback rewards. And I talked about it being your Zensports savings account or using your Target card and getting that 4% cash back anytime you use your Target red card, right? Same thing. All right, well, so at Zensports, what you do is the first 15 days, you get 5% unlimited, 5% cash back on everything that you bet. Any bet you place, you get 5% cash back. And then after that, then you actually get 3% cash back every month. So the start of every month, you get your cash back. It's cool, it's simple, and it's easy to use. You're going to find a lot of stuff there in Zensports that you're really going to enjoy. But honestly, it's lines that you can trust. And the coolest thing about this is being on the ground floor and being able to tell your friends and your friends not knowing about it as much, because this isn't one of the biggest sports books, right? It's starting from the ground up. So you're on the ground floor, being able to tell your friends. And because you tell your friends, you get 5% cash back for the first 6 months. So everything that they spend, you get for the first 6 months, you get money. It's the Zensports savings account. So make sure you go ahead and download the Zensports app. And Zensports, I promise you'll be happy with. And here in Tennessee, Zensports, betting just got better. And so I hope you join our friends over at Zensports. It's going to be a fun time with them, but also you're going to make sure you do enjoy it because, who doesn't like making money? Speaking of making money, you can make money with us. All you have to do is just place our bets and have fun with us. And so let's go ahead and get into the show. It's going to be a fun show, but I'm going to be a little tempered a little bit. And so I'm going to take a step back on this because I will get to that in my second segment. But the first segment that we're going to get to is we're going to look through Props.cash. And the reason we're looking at Props.cash is for the simple fact that, one, I like the app. But two, you can go ahead and find and make yourself a smarter better by going to Props.cash. And honestly, when you sign up, use our code BCM Bet. That's pretty simple. Bluff City Media, BCM Bet. And so go ahead and join us over there. But here we're going to get started and we're going to go ahead and go to the Props.cash. So let's go ahead and look at it here. We're going to share the screen now and kind of look through some of the bets that I like. And so we're going to spend some time here before we get into our second segment, which is going to be a new one, something I haven't done before. But I think you're going to actually enjoy it before we get to our official play. But let's go ahead and look through some of these lines. If you're looking at here with me here on YouTube, you can see some of these numbers that we're looking at. What I'm going to go to is the strikeout and the area that I'm looking at the most. And I'm looking at the projected differential, and that's okay. It tells me a little bit. That's not really enough that makes me sway one way or the other. But Shohei Ohtani is on here. I actually have a lean on his under for the simple fact that coming out of All-Star break, he might be a little tired. If you look at the Houston numbers that he's faced them this year, he's had a 6.5. The line is 6.5. The under is a plus number, plus 100. I know you can get it most every book. And I think there are some books you can get at plus 105, plus 120. I had this early on at the under on Shohei Ohtani, 6.5 strikeouts at plus 120. So I know the line has moved a little bit out of my favor, but it obviously out of your favor. But, honestly, it shows that I put a good number there. So I'm looking at that. His numbers are always across the board, just good. And so I hate fading a guy like Shohei Ohtani, but he's a guy that I'm going to go ahead and fade a little bit just for the simple fact that coming off the All-Star break. And so the other number I'm going to go over here and go to is the 2023, number. And Jose Barrios has been a very good pitcher. And so the number is minus 120 here, but I'm looking at he's hit this a lot. But what I also want to look at is the Arizona batting versus right-handed pitching. Very important. This is one of the things I make sure I stay tuned and stay close to is what their percentages are. And this is only against right-handed pitching. And so if you're somebody you're like, I always go with them because they're not very, they strike out a lot, whatever the reason that it might be, we'll always look at these numbers because I think it's important to see if somebody has been striking out a lot, but it's due to a left-handed pitcher or right-handed pitcher. I want to be hesitant on that. And so that's why this number, even though you look at Jose Barrios' number, he's averaging 5.6 on the year. The line is 4.5. So you want to look at that. The other thing I want to look at is I'm going to go ahead and go both pitchers, right? Both sides. I'm going to see how many green checks I get. Okay. It's about probably even. And go to the left side. They do probably about even as well. On the right side, they have been striking out a lot. Carrasco, Senga, Scherzer, Canning all hit their numbers, and except for Carrasco, all were 5.5s. And so here recently, I think the trends you can look at sometimes is the trends and see how they're doing. But like I said, going into All-Star break, things are crazy, things are weird, and so I want to make sure I watch that. In my second segment, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit more about that and kind of the reason you might stay away from some trends and some reasons you wouldn't bet as much. And so you'll stay tuned for the second segment. But a guy I do like is Brian Bello. Bayo. I don't know why I said Bello. Bayo. And so is it Bayo Day? And so I do like the K percentage with the Chicago Cubs. They do strike out a lot, especially to right-handed pitching. But Bayo has been very good for me in general. But one of my plays will actually come from this game. So I'm going to have two plays so far. I haven't seen anything else that I like, but two official plays that you should be able to get in before this podcast comes out. After this podcast comes out, I have plenty of time to go ahead and get these. But I'm looking at these streaks too. I like streaks, right? And so Dean Kramer, he's been a guy that I've been on here before, and he's streaking in the right direction, right? He's coming off a 10 strikeout performance this last time. So let's go ahead and look at the last 5 and see who that was against the Yankees. And so he's obviously doing well. Miami doesn't strike out a ton, but against right-handed pitching, I think that they're susceptible for it because look at these numbers. Like I do think that number is not high enough. A 4.5, I feel comfortable because if you look at these numbers against these other pitchers, these guys have been striking out a good amount. And so I don't think that they're completely that you want to say normally as early in the season, I would have said, hey, fade strikeouts against the Marlins. But I do think that there's opportunity there for sure to go against a guy like Dean Kramer. The only problem is it's getting a little juicy. And so we got to stay away from the juice. The juice gets a little bit too much. And at that point, I might have to fade, but might kind of see if I can get a number that kind of falls into my favor. Or I might put more than a unit on it just so I can get a full unit on a bet that I really like. And so I've been watching this Dean Kramer line for a little bit and seeing what he thinks. So the other one I'm looking at in general is I'm going to look at walks. And this is something I've kind of been really, adamant on is some guy like Rich Hill. You know, he's walking and he's on the year, it's 83%. But the problem is San Francisco does not do a lot of walks. And so even that big number, I know that he's been walking a lot of people. As you can tell, I am just kind of all over the place on what I would do. One guy I do like and a guy who I'm probably going to parlay into maybe 2 pitchers on a walks is a guy like Charlie Morton. He's shown that he can obviously give up walks, even though the Chicago White Sox, they don't walk a lot. I just think that 88% on the year is just too hard to ignore within the walks. And so I just think that there's an opportunity there to go for that. And so anytime I can see a big streak or a guy who maybe in a good matchup, I'm going to target that. So those are 2 of the things I'm looking at. And honestly, like I'm going to try to be careful and kind of stay away a little bit from some of these lines because it's just coming out of an All-Star break. It just doesn't feel right. Right. It just doesn't feel like the momentum's there. It doesn't feel like there's a lot there in general. And so I want to be careful with that. So let me show you a guy that I really do love. This will be the last thing we do here at Props.cash. If you want to sign up Props.cash, very simple, very easy. You can get all this. We're on the desktop version. They also have an app. They also have some other, I guess it's, I guess your mobile version of it. So I like the mobile version and the desktop version more than the app. They do have the app, and I've talked to them about it. And they're like, actually, a lot of people prefer to go with the app over what I like. And so, it was really weird to hear that because I feel like I know what I like. But one guy who I do like a lot, Tyler Glasnow. I don't know why I was going to the wrong game. I was looking at Toronto for some reason. All right, let's go to Tyler Glasnow. All right, so the K percentage against Kansas City is one of the worst strikeout teams at 4. I got this line at over 7.5 at -110 last night. I hammered it pretty well. If you look in the season, and we talked about it last week with it was the Braves going against a team like Tampa Bay, the Rays. Great matchup all around. He still hit on a team that doesn't strike out a lot at all. I was very much implored by the fact that Tyler Glasnow is getting in the right direction. He did have some issues. I think he came out of the game with a cramping, but it was in his glove hand and not a throwing hand. He had some time off that he didn't have to go into the All-Star break. And so he had some extra time off. So this is a guy I really do like. Even at -145, I do think that's a number that you can really go after. And so look at Tyler Glasnow to go 8. I would even say you're okay going to the ladder for the simple fact that he just went against Kansas City earlier this year. He's only had, 8 starts so far. And so he went against Kansas City and had 12. So I think this is a team that you can actually go ahead and ladder a little bit all the way up to 10. If you want to go, if it has +500, +700 odds for 11 and 12, I still think that's, those are great odds to throw, $5 on, right? And to see if you can hit and see if you can throw some money back to you. So those are the players I'm looking at the most there is because I think it's very, very cool to see that model. So make sure if you do enjoy Props.cash, go ahead and go over and use the code BCM bet. All right, that's all we got. So let's go ahead and go back to me, and we're going to go into a new segment. And this is going to be real quick. We'll go to this segment, which is Couch to Couch, brand new segment. Then we're going to go to our official plays, and we're going to get out of here. But Couch to Couch. And what is the reason you can think it's Couch to Couch? Let me get you. Let me a little bit of music and set the mood. All right, this is the Couch to Couch segment. And this is my sexy voice. I'm just going to be honest. There's something that doesn't feel right about coming out of an All-Star break. And I shared with you last time, there's something going into the All-Star break that I didn't love. And so what I'm going to say is, from my couch, well, I have a couch back here somewhere. Yeah, couch. So my couch to your couch, wherever you're listening to this, I would say dampen your expectations a little bit. And understand that maybe some of these guys that are coming out of the All-Star break are not going to be in the same mojo that they were in. They didn't have the same rhythm that they had. There's guys that actually were able to take some rest and enjoy that rest with their families, by themselves, whatever they're doing in their personal lives, probably on some random beach somewhere. They were actually enjoying that time. And so my thing is to take a step back on some of these bets. We're all eager to bet, and we're all just raring to go and put all of our money back into this and get going. It's baseball again. We all love baseball, but we want to go ahead and go after it again. Well, my thing is slow down, take a step back. Unless it's something you love, please understand that these guys are trying to get back into the rhythm again. It takes you a little bit to get back into the rhythm. And so if it's a team like, let's say the Atlanta Braves, who I am a huge fan of, if it's the Atlanta Braves, I'm going to just kind of maybe not go full in with my full unit. I want to maybe do a half unit on some plays that I love. And some plays that maybe were hit because they were rolling so much in the first half. So this is something I'm going to watch, and something I think you should watch too. If it is a pitcher and it's a pitching matchup that maybe you're looking at as he wasn't in the All-Star break, and like a Shohei Ohtani, I'm fading because of the All-Star break. He went to the All-Star break and had that, and now he's having to pitch again after doing all that. I just think that coming out of an All-Star break, sometimes the pitchers aren't in the same mode. It doesn't feel the same getting back into it. Such as you can call as easy as a timeout in basketball when the rhythm is going and the coach calls a timeout just to stop the momentum. This is a momentum stopper. So be careful about this, because I do think that sometimes momentum is a real thing. And so I would say be hesitant and watch, because sometimes these things don't actually end up continuing through a big break like this. And so sit back, take a half unit on a play that you like but don't love, and then play your full unit on a play you love. And so that's what I would say. And so from my couch to your couch, that would be my suggestion, is to not go full in, raring to go, and end up losing, many units just because you thought this was the time to jump back in and you're raring to go because we've had a little bit of a break. So these guys have had a break too. So let's be careful. All right. Before we get to our last segment, last thing I will say is about Zensports. Make sure you go ahead and download the app and use our code BluffC, and you can go ahead and start signing up, and you can get your full 5% cash back for the first 15 days, every bet you place. From there, it's 3% every month. And then from there, tell your friends, let them know, and you get your 5% cash back for the first 6 months of adding them. So don't find somebody who's not going to place any bets, because that doesn't help. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help Zensports. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help anybody. Find your friends that are going to bet and have fun with it just as you are, and share your bets and tag us if you see something. There's something I want to do is have some parlay fun for a Friday. I didn't see anything I loved. There's some MLS plays, but there's baseball, and I just don't love the baseball plays yet because it just seems like after a break, I want to be hesitant. And so I'm going to take my own advice this time. So take my advice from my couch to your couch, is take my advice on that, but also take my advice on Zensports. Go ahead and download the app and use the code BluffC and get signed up today. make your 5% cash back. I promise you, your Zensports savings account, as I'm calling it, will start building up. All right, last thing we're going to do is our official plays. And it's going to be 2 official plays. The first one's going to be the Boston Red Sox on the first 5. It's minus 120. I found it over in multiple sports books, so you can find this as well. But the first 5, for some fact of Brian Bayo, I'm just going to ride him. I like his strikeouts. I do. I still like that number. But he pitches long into a game. I feel like coming out of a rest a little bit, I feel like he can be a guy who can maybe, dampen down the lineup on the other side, and a guy who can go long into a game. And I think he's going to cruise. And I think the Red Sox are actually finding their stride a little bit. And so I'm going to back the Red Sox and Brian Bayo. The other one is Tyler Glasnow with Tampa Bay Rays. Over 7.5 strikeouts. I got it minus 110. It's now minus 130, minus 135 in some areas. Go ahead and hit Tyler Glasnow and go ahead and ladder him up, because I think that Tyler Glasnow is going to go off. And I think that he is a guy who had some extra rest by coming out of the last game against the Braves, who he hit this number against a team that doesn't strike out a lot. And so when he had that cramping, he had some extra time off. That was probably a little bit of precaution to make sure that they get him some good rest. So now he's had not as long of a game against his last matchup. He had some time off. Now he's coming in well rested. Some pitchers don't do well. I think Tyler Glasnow will. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit him at over 7.5. And I'm going to ladder him up all the way to 10. And I might have some fun at 11 and 12 just to see how high he can really go against this Kansas City Royals offense. So that's all we have. It's been a fun show. I got to show a little bit of Props.cash, as I always do. I use that for everything. And so go ahead and subscribe and use BCM Bet when you go ahead and sign up for Props.cash. But let's have a fun weekend and make sure you keep cashing with me. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for listening to Bluff City Bets. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.